Welcome to my basic guide to survival mode in Shadow Warrior 3. I'm going to give you some tips on how to survive as long as you can, as well as review some general mechanics. I'm not a dedicated player or speedrunner or anything like that, but I've got a good handle on the game and I hope I can help you out. The first thing you'll need to work on is your movement. You have a single dash which refills quickly. You can dash, dash, dash to a pretty intuitive rhythm, though I'm personally a fan of sliding and dashing. I think it's fun. Dash recharges when on the ground, so jumping a lot while dashing will result in fewer dashes. That's a bad habit to break, I still struggle with it. If you can get airborne, do it. Every arena has jump pads. You'll avoid a lot of bullying from the brutes, and you'll get off some good sniper shots. Use the arena travel. You've got tunnels with pickups inside, wall running opportunities, but be very careful with the grapple points. You can't change your direction, so it's easy to swing into something you don't want to, or get stuck on a wall. Be careful. Grappling can be good for getting to a fodder enemy quickly for an ammo drop or a life-saving finisher, but generally I'd stay away from it. Your starting weapon is a crucial decision. I tend to go for Basilisk or Crimson Bull because I want strong long-range options against the brutes and seekers you face in the opening levels. Ammo is low, so make sure you work in plenty of revolver shots. Remember that weapons reload off-screen, so keep swapping weapons. A single Basilisk or grenade into Seekers, plus the revolver will take them out. If you need ammo, pop a fodder enemy once or twice with the revolver and then slash to finish. If you don't get the Basilisk or Crimson Bull and instead end up with the sidekicks or shotgun, you may struggle a bit in the opening rounds. Just keep switching to the revolver, back away from the brutes, and pray for an early upgrade. The upgrades fully boost your weapon to the max, so an early full auto isn't a bad way to start. If you need to get off a few shots of a powerful weapon quickly, remember to dead swap, meaning you switch to another weapon without firing and then switch back. This lets you fire again right away. Here's a comparison of how fast the Basilisk fires a second shot if you dead swap compared to waiting for the recovery. If you're just getting started with this game, I would recommend staying away from multiple early weapon upgrades and instead go for weapon variety, simply to spread out your ammo supply. If you're on level 3 or 4 and all you have is revolver and an upgraded Basilisk, you're gonna have a bad time because you're just gonna get bullied for having no ammo. You'll see health and ammo pickups scattered around the arena, which respawn at different rates depending on the selected difficulty. They also provide fewer resources on higher difficulties. And since they respawn at the beginning of every round, don't feel like you should save them when you're near the end of a fight. Pick up whatever you need because it'll come back when you finish the round. If you can pick up an early resources upgrade, I say do it. This is the upgrade that makes any sword slash drop ammo, any shot drop health, and increase finisher orbs from enemies killed with barrels. And the health upgrade gives you 125 HP and slowly regenerating health. I always avoid unlocking this regeneration upgrade in the campaign because I feel like it goes against the game's combat loop, but it's far more appropriate here in survival mode just because of how much more difficult it is. When enemies spawn in at the beginning or mid-round, some of them are on a delay, so you'll want to have a good view of a few spawns, just to know who you should target first. Don't sit in front of one guy and wait, because others might spawn in first. Instead, identify which of the big threats are coming in first and target them. Use your finishers on small enemies instead of getting gore weapons. You are not invulnerable while using gore weapons, and killing enemies with those weapons doesn't yield health, so it's very easy to die using them. Sometimes it's appropriate. The Hattori sword can be very useful since you're so mobile, and the Makibus cannons can be great for taking down lots of brutes or seekers. But I generally like to go for the 100 HP boost and 5 seconds of invulnerability from the Shogai. And the Kugutsu freeze bomb can also be a lifesaver since freeze damage does so much in this game. If you do pick up a gore weapon and you don't want to use it, remember to hold R to throw it away. Alright, let's talk about elemental damage for a minute. Elemental barrels are very useful in survival mode. Explosives do a lot of damage, about as much as a Crimson Bull. Electric barrels provide a long stun period, and freeze barrels freeze, obviously. When enemies are frozen, you can take them out very quickly, even the biggest guys in the game. Something I've lately come to see as a pretty underrated tactic is using Chi Blast to launch barrels. Shooting these things straight ahead gives a lot more purpose to them and can make for some amazing plays. You can even use Grapple Hook to pull one in from a distance and then launch it towards your enemy of choice. Overall, elemental damage feels like it plays a bigger role than it did in the campaign, and that's why the Dragon Tail upgrade is absolutely vital to survival mode. If you never upgraded your sword in the campaign, you may not have seen the insane and arguably broken power of this thing, and trust me, you need to, because survival mode is balanced around it. Holding forward and charging sword will do a fire projectile, which has its uses, but the real power comes from the electric and freeze charge. Hold left or right and charge up to release a paralyzing electric slash that applies to multiple enemies, a fantastic way to stun a group on the trap floor and send them to a quick death. If you hold back and charge, you get a freeze slash that penetrates enemies, so it can freeze groups or even enemies 20 feet behind the enemy in front of you. It also goes through walls, making for some really fun tactical plays. The damage taken during freeze states is unreal. A frozen laser shogun will die to a single grenade in the front or just a couple shotgun rounds. You can get a one-hit kill on the Seekers if you freeze them, you can charge up a freeze slash and take out a whole line of explosive guys, and they all drop ammo because you killed them with the sword. Charging a freeze is a great way to start a round. You can take out 2 heavies right in the opening seconds if you set it up right. If you're playing on the killing floor, you gotta learn how to use the trap to take out the brutes, with or without the sword. Luring 2 or 3 of them onto the trap floor will save you lots of work. If you can use it to take out a chef or a mancubus, even better. There's a trick I like to do with the chef's gore weapon. I use a finisher on a chef and throw his weapon on the trap floor, open it up and watch everyone that gets sucked in fall to their death. The most difficult enemies, in my opinion, are the Mogura twins and the chefs. Chefs just because they're tanky and drop all those explosive pods around. When you have multiple chefs, the battleground can become a real problem. And the Mogura twins, man, what can I say? They're really annoying. Freeze them if you can and kill with a Basilisk and Crimson Bowl, or full auto shotgun. Unfrozen, a Mogura twin will die to a Basilisk hit coming out of the ground, then Crimson Bowl and finish off with full auto. If I'm engaging long range, I like to throw a grenade first and use the travel time to get off a Basilisk shot, so both hit around the same time, which gives me enough time to land another grenade shot for the kill before he gets back in the ground. The chefs have a weakness to the shuriken. It can be a good way to lock them down for a combo or just to stop them from dropping more pods. Seekers and Hattoris are also stunned by shurikens. If a bunch of Seekers are harassing me, I'll spam shurikens their way just to stop the chaos. And I really like using the shuriken on a Hattori right after breaking his protection orbs. When you put all this weapon switching, fast movement, and elemental attacks together, you get some really fun and effective gameplay. Well, that's about all you need to get started and find some decent success. I'm Under the Mayo, thank you for watching this guide. Now hop into the arena and play with your Wang.